tomorrow show, 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 tomorrow show. Oh yeah. You got that singing. You gotta sing that live, right? You do that?
The Tomorrow Show.
Oh shit, that's probably good.
Woo! The Tomorrow Show.
That's awesome. That's right. That's right. It's time. Meow. Yeah.
Hi.
It's time, buddy. It's time to start the show. How y'all doing? What's up, AC?
Yo.
How are you?
Up? I'm good. A little tired, but I'm good. How are you?
Good. You made it. You made it back. You made it back in time. Our man was a rock star. He was on the road. A little Iowa action. So glad you could be here, bud. And we got Gandalf sitting in AC's stead. So keeping your spot warm on the couch, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. Greatly appreciated.
Hello, everybody on Twitch. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being part of this really positive, amazing community. Let's do this. Let's remind each other that, hey, tomorrow, it might not be better, but it's another day to find out what's going to go down, what's going to happen, what experiences should I be waking up for tomorrow? And those little incremental steps each and every day, how that interfaces with mental health and how we talk about it. How do you talk about mental health, babe? You just stare.
Facial expressions. That's how she talks about it. No words. Just like eye movements, twitches.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of that. Reading the body language.
Without stigma.
Yeah, without stigma. You try to make it about everyday life. And then if you do that a lot, if you do that enough, people around you start to be like, oh, yeah, that's probably a better way to do it. How about that? How's that for a concept? Because as many of you know, we've been doing a lot of work over the last year on the network, trying to spread that message, trying to be proactive, trying to talk about health and all of its facets, mental, physical, spiritual, all that. So that's what the Tomorrow Show is all about. That's what the Hope for Us Network's all about. Yeah. Right? So we're glad you could join us. Sound off in the chat on Twitch. Share on your pages, your other social media pages. Tell people to get in here. We got a lot of fun stuff planned for today. And let's have a stream party, eh? Let's do it. I wanted to start off today just noticing that not only did we have our second wedding anniversary, it was kind of like a pretty big day for nature. What was September 22nd, darling?
It was the autumnal equinox.
The autumnal equinox. Did you feel, AC, on the 22nd, did you feel the temperature just drop? Like nature was like, oh yeah, now it's fall.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't catch it cold because I sleep with my window open sometimes, and I definitely did that night. So when I woke up the next day, I was frigid.
Yeah, it was
Very
really cold all of a sudden. Yeah.
It was nice to bust out the hoodie, though. I'm not gonna lie. I love me a good hoodie, especially with the hood up. You know what I'm saying? Like protects your neck.
Like a little Jedi.
Makes
like
you feel all cozy. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, AC.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what's that movie? Big Daddy with Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
So you know the kid in that movie? I forget what it was. What was it? The glasses or what? he would put something on and like nobody could see him.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember
I
that?
forgot about that part. That was cute. Yeah, I feel like it was glasses or something.
I am that.
Sunglasses?
What's that?
Sunglasses?
I think it was sunglasses. That's it. I am that kid with sunglasses, but with my hoodie. I feel like if I have my hoodie and it's up, like no one can see me. I'm just like, like I'm just out, you know.
Our best friend Aaliyah, she gets all she like pokes fun at me because like even if it's just like kind of there's just a slight chill in the air, I'll get my hoodie on, I'll put my hood up. It's just like Mike V, you're so cold all the time. He's got short sleeves on and just like teasing me about it.
Yeah.
But I think it's not just temperature comfort for me. It is kind of like a little slight squeeze.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting my favorite garment to give me a little squeeze, a little hug. So that's pretty cool. That's
Plus,
pretty cool.
I just like being cozy.
Hell yeah to being cozy, right?
You know?
That's kind of the best part about this last week of September is that changeover, and it's Oktoberfest is in the air, and the leaves are starting to turn, and you're starting to think about carving pumpkins. And
I want to go see if that leaf that I picked up changed or stayed.
okay, you can just go grab a leaf. Oh, did you put it in a book? That's a good way to collect little bits of treasures from nature.
It kind of stayed. It kind of stayed. It kind of changed.
Kind of stayed, kind of changed.
It was just cool. You could see you could see its veins.
The veins are well pronounced on that flower. It's not flower. That's leaf. Silly.
Leaf.
We also got to like as a bonus, we got to go to Riot Fest last Sunday and see Treaty of Paris, our friends, and got to see a bunch of other bands.
AC got to go on Friday, right?
Yeah,
I got
AC.
to see Al.
Yeah.
This is pretty special. It's good to see people just like taking care of each other at a festival like that. It's good to see young little punk rockers being awesome too. The Lindas were the first thing we saw, and Erin was getting a little choked up.
The drummer just is 12. AC.
12 years old.
And yeah, the drummer is 12, and then there's like I think it's like 14 or like 15, 16, 18 or 14, 15, 18. So one of them just turned 18. So they have this song about voting that maybe cool. We should put a clip. Maybe we'll put a clip of it up next time or something.
Yeah, next time. Yeah, I just had we have too much goodies, backlog of experiences to share with y'all that you'll get over the course of season 2.
But yeah, that like they were just talking about voting because none of them can vote. And they see people not voting and probably just being like,
yeah, the bass player was like, hey guys, like the stuff going on in the world right now, it's not that good and we can't vote yet. So like, we'd really appreciate it. And then they played this rocking song.
Dude, that's amazing.
Voting. Yeah.
Yeah. So they make me cry because it reminds me of like past students I had. It like makes me think of past students I have like growing up and being awesome and makes me proud. Yeah. They're so cute.
Totally.
They're so strong and smart and outspoken for their age and
agreed.
That's amazing.
For a bunch of kids, female at birth kids who
just rocking. What did you say?
To kind of piggyback on the topic of like the voting thing, and the politics and whatnot, with you saying them, during their set Sunday, asking people to go vote or whatever because they were too young, or this and that and the other. When I went Friday, the singer for Sparta, Jim Ward, was asking people to vote. He's from Texas, and we all know how Texas is right now.
Yeah.
And there were definitely more than a couple of times during, the course of their set where, he brought up what's that? Beto?
Beto? Yeah,
Beto?
yeah.
And-
He's the guy running.
Yeah. But it's just, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's nice to, I feel like artists, musicians have always, kind of been like, hey, vote, go vote. But it's nice to see it a little bit more so. You know what I mean? Like now,
Yeah.
like
Yes, indeed.
a lot more people really kind of like, taking the time, like having that platform to be like, hey, this is serious. Like,
Yeah.
go vote. Like, things are getting weird, like
100%.
so it's really nice to see that,
Yeah, man. I love seeing young people just being like, hey, old people, you forgot you gave us the internet and now we're smarter than all of you. We know all the information. We have so much information at our disposal. And I think that's kind of a beautiful thing. I think my favorite moment too was just like kind of people watching and seeing all the people that in that type of setting don't give a fuck about what people think about their style or their class or their any of that stuff. It's kind of just like a bunch of people being like unapologetically themselves.
Yeah, Riot Fest is definitely a place that people can be themselves, and it's really nice to see that.
Yeah, we had a good time, and whatever shows you've been going to, you guys out there on Twitch, whatever music you've been taking in, take a moment to just appreciate how powerful that stuff is. Don't take it for granted. Those little things like the music that really hits you, however it hits you, so needed, so valued, and really the most helpful thing for me to keep in mind when I'm having one of those days, one of those dark days where I'm like, man, like, just fuck it all, But then you're reminded that, well, even when things are terrible, there's songs, there are bands, there are creatives and artists out there that like they instill hope back in you. They give you like a recharge. It's like soul nourishment. You know what I mean? So it was cool. It was very fun. But anything else that got you through the last week or so since we last saw you all? Sound off in the chat if you want to participate. Would love to hear from y'all. But anything from you?
I've been enjoying my getting back into the Lord of the Rings because the new Rings of Power show came out. It's interesting because it's like in between a lot of the history that we do know. Some of it, I don't know how much of it is like being made up by the writers. But either way, it's pretty interesting. My favorite part is that Weta Digital, the like creative team of the Lord of the Rings, they basically invented with Andy Serkis motion capture, which is a way to take people's movements. They put all the little dots on somebody's face.
Oh yeah.
And on their body, and they're able to like film that and then take it into the computer, and it just adds this whole other element to the CGI that's more realistic. And yeah, so they basically like invented that. They're just amazing. They have armorers, they have weapons makers, they have who actually do it the old way.
Even the sets to some degree.
They have sets. They have what Peter Jackson calls bigatures. Maybe that's Richard Taylor, the director of Weta. But yeah, the bigatures, they're not really miniatures. They're pretty big. They're like big bigatures. So the bigatures, they have, set designs, costumers, people who like, hand sew shit. They have it's just like they're unbelievable. I think that they're like the best creative team in the whole business. They're absolutely amazing. And so they agreed to do the Rings of Power. So you can tell that the stuff is them. And that's my favorite thing is like, oh my God, look at that armor. Oh my God, look at that chest plate. There's like this ornate like chest plate that they have. Oh, actually I'm wearing, it's like the Green Man, if you know that Celtic guy.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of wearing my necklace that I got at the Ren Fair that's the Green Man.
You're feeling pretty in touch with your elf?
Yeah,
your inner elf.
The fall does that.
Or your hobbit or whatever.
Right. Yeah, so it's just like really cool to see that again. Yeah. So that's been fun.
I've been having a blast looking through photos.
Yes.
For like we've been kind of revisiting a bunch of photos from last year for our first anniversary, and pictures from when we got married during the pandemic. And don't ever forget how much digital crap we store up, and it's not crap at all, but it can be forgotten about. And like you forget about these snapshots and moments of your life because it's so easy to snap a million shots of everything you're doing. But go back once in a while, like, you know, these apps, the Google Photos app or whatever, they like put together little collections, like AI puts them together, and you got these little videos. If you have
Google Photos and you go in there, they have photos. But if you go into like the For You section, if you have an Apple phone, then they make these memory photos.
Yeah, they make they like kind of organize them because
snow days over the years.
Yeah, the way artificial intelligence works within those programs, like it can sift through a shitload of stuff and then like kind of group them in a way that's not like totally random, doesn't make sense. Like it actually makes sense, and they'll add music to it. Yeah. So random, but you know, it just made my day kind of checking out some little old like collages and montages.
Another thing I like to do, yesterday I was looking for a specific picture, which I didn't find, but I looked up dog and I just searched dog in the search bar, and there were just like tons of photos of animals that it thought were dogs, like a cow that we saw.
It's not perfect. It's still
Luna,
not a human.
My cat Luna. But yeah, either way, like then you find like super cute stuff when you do just a random search. You know, you could probably like pumpkin.
Yeah, and
California.
You can then teach it. You can kind of teach it too. Like it'll be like, "Is this a dog?" And you'll be like, "Yes" or "No," and like you can like teach it to look for your dogs and stuff like that, or plants or whatever.
Yeah.
And you could like even name your, you know, you can even put little word tags on stuff.
Oh
like if you got to find something for work.
Yes, the plant identification. So they have that, I think, connected to for like the new update, maybe
with the lens, the Google Lens.
They also have that.
It's like connected.
Like here's my friend's cat last night. It says look up cat, and you can click on that and it'll look it up. But I think Skramsky is talking about if you go into the Google app, you can take a photo of a plant, or I think a lot of people use it for plants because it's super helpful, but you can use it probably for like record covers, books, photos that you're like, what is that from? And then you look it up and it'll search it and it'll tell you what the freaking plant is. You still have to use some logic, but like,
what is this? I want to know. I want to know what this guy.
I will do that with that thing all the time. I'll see something crazy, or I'll be like, "What's this?" or "How can I get this?" Like if I see something that looks dope that I want, I can take a picture of it, and it'll be like, "You can find this here and sale it here." Yo, don't laugh.
That's wild.
There was this one time when I saw a bug crawling on the wall, and I freaked out, and I was like, "Yo, that I better not have roaches." Like I freaked out. And I like took a picture, and it was like definitely not a roach. But you know, I was like,
yeah. So okay. So I think okay. So this I think is what Skramsky's talking about. So here's a sunflower. So you go down here.
Metadata.
And it'll be like, look up plant. and it'll find you the results. Common sunflower. So you could do that with your other stuff through your phone now.
That's pretty neat.
Which is really, it's just it's just faster.
The other note on that is it's really
cool.
easy to Google something like a bit of information that you can't think of. But remember, back in the day before we could do that stuff, you had to kind of like really try and remember and retain information. Nowadays, we don't like really work as hard as at like taking that bit of information in and then like trying to remember it and like.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think something that you could do, what I want to do, is use that feature and then type in the notes what it is. So then if I just the typing would help me remember. But also, if I did want to go back and reference it, like what was that again? Then it would be right there, and I wouldn't have to even search. I don't know.
Well, just like.
But there is like the note feature under there too.
The point I'm trying to make though is like just like a broader point in that, we could walk around with all this endless information in our pockets and never remember anything. Like you could do that. That's fine. But man, it's so cool to like kind of chew on that knowledge and like digest it and like be able to feel confident and like being out, just having a walk and being like, I know what that is, and teaching somebody what it is and just having an interaction about it. So, just kind of working out that mind and really being present in that information rather than like, oh, who's that dude from that movie? Oh, okay, cool. And then like you're moving on to look up a million other things. Like try and sit with stuff. Take a beat, take a breath. That's awesome. We got a cool show this week. We got an amazing guest that I'm really proud of all the work they're doing. A little bit about our guest today, Laura Louise Green, LPC. So Laura is a licensed psychotherapist, an organizational consultant, and the founder of an organization called Healthy Pour. Healthy Pour is awesome. After working in hospitality and the drinks industry for 2 decades, Laura utilizes her knowledge and skills as a trained mental health professional to facilitate training, growth, and healing. Really important. Healing within the hospitality industry and other creative sectors. And after receiving her license to practice as a psychotherapist, Laura turned her sights on the hospitality industry, providing free psychoeducation to the community at large, which is super critical so that people can be empowered and people can then be, facilitators of change as well. This psychoeducation eventually transformed and evolved into Healthy Pour, a consultancy that helps organizations and professional communities address issues of well-being in the workplace. And I like this little bit that she sent us about being a self-described pracademic. So it's a term used to describe a practitioner who utilizes and engages with rigorous research in academia. You can see this in the work that Laura does and how they dig deep. Laura's work is rooted in employing evidence-based interventions and theory through a critical lens. Her research interests are social, emotional stress at work, trauma's influence on career decisions, and particularly in precarious creative industries like hospitality or even entertainment. She studied at DePaul University, earned a master's of education in community counseling, and is currently studying organizational psychology at Birkbeck, University of London, in the School of Business, Economics, and Informatics, with plans to continue her academic career in occupational health and well-being, and is still providing free weekly seminars for the community. So that's pretty awesome. And just to kind of give you a taste, Scott, I sent you a clip about Laura being recognized by Liquor.com's new 2022 Liquor Awards, along with some other great resources and people doing the work out there. You mind pulling that up when you get a chance? Because I think it gives us a really good taste of Laura's character. So, it's a nice reel on Healthy Pour's site. And I don't think we can hear the video at the moment. You want to hit that?
Brown and balanced and oh
So check this out.
Ooh! Healthy pour, y'all. I'm getting emotional thinking about it. Like this, I am so grateful. Look, you can read more about what Healthy Pour is and what we do. And I encourage you also to read up on the runners up and the honorable mention folks, because y'all, we're in this together, and a win for one of us is a win for all of us. So thank you.
Woo!
Over the moon.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you, Scott. So we're going to talk with Laura to round out our episode today and learn a bunch of cool shit from a very smart person, very compassionate person, and just glad they're giving us some of their time. We got some events coming up this month to check out.
Yeah, so much stuff. So Monday, we're going
to Eris. Tomorrow.
Oh, Gandalf has discovered my new
Don't do it, buddy. Don't do
flowers that I put up because he loves to eat them. He can't get up there.
He's not quite tall enough, but he's pretty stretchy. He can stretch his body pretty far.
Anyway, sorry.
Go gadget arms.
Yeah. Sorry. Tomorrow, we're gonna be at Eris Brewing, and there'll be some really cool guests there.
Yeah.
Who are gonna be the guests?
Well, so at Eris Brewery and Cider House, it's the Bring On Tomorrow event. It's a panel featuring Michelle Foyk, founder, owner, operator of Eris, our lovely hosts. Michelle Tompkins, founder of Corner Store Chicago, really great, doing amazing work in urban populations, definitely underserved communities, and mixing it up with the youth, making them feel that sense of belonging and somebody they could count on as a mentor. Michelle Tompkins is one of my favorite people. And then, this is a trifecta because you'll have another hero of mine in Chicago. Janine Wise is on the panel. Janine is an expert culinary genius, great educator, and doing something that's good food, good medicine, I believe is the name of the org. We went to a really neat Inglewood fundraiser and urban agriculture crawl, which was really awesome. Got to see Janine and support some of the work that they're doing as a community in Inglewood to imagine something different, something more supportive, since the city of Chicago hasn't really done them any favors to take care of them. The resiliency argument is something that we just want to shine a light on, is that you don't have to always be like, you're so resilient, we're so proud of you. It's fucked up that they have to do that and be resilient on their own, but it's amazing and inspiring nonetheless. And it was just really cool to see them transforming vacant lots into in food deserts to create these farms where not only is there food that they can share with their community, but there is so much learning to be had and so much additional fellowship and mentorship that anybody in those communities, or maybe somebody that's just getting out of being incarcerated, can find a way to get a fresh start. What was it? Growing Home?
Yeah, they have like training programs, and
there's a farm down there that
job programs.
Yeah, let's go. So Janine, you're amazing. Michelle, you're amazing. Can't wait to hear you on that panel.
Yeah, so that's gonna be all she's and they's at that.
Yo, if you decide, AC, that you want to go last minute and you want to make a little reschedule with your dude, you should come with us because Carl's got you. Just a reminder, because that would be fun.
Cool. And then we have at the end of October, near Halloween, we have the Champions of Hope Wrestling Show.
Champions of Hope Wrestling Show, right, AC?
At Logan Auditorium. And that's going to be so fun.
AC, if you were a professional wrestler, what voice would you adopt? Or would you talk like yourself if you were a pro wrestler?
I just talk like myself.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
I would be like this all the time.
It's hard not to, because, I grew up on the Hulk. So I just want to say, brother, we're going to be a champions of hope. You know?
Or maybe I'd be like,
if you smell what the Rock is cooking.
And it starts. And it starts. And there it is. That's
our
one.
first stunner. There you go.
That's so funny.
That's one.
That's so funny.
And real quick, let's just give our thanks to Larry Phillips for putting on the Stop the Insanity concert at Livewire Lounge last week. That was awesome. Thank you to all the bands. I know Ben was out there representing and saying what's up. But thank you, Larry. Thank you, Mount Prospect, for doing their Mount Prospect Has Hope walk last week as well. That's so cool. Town Hall, like representing the network and starting that conversation. And then this last shout out, AC, top-notch programming on your new show, Sign of the Times. Oh, yeah. This month was so good. AC's new show is so good. Check it out.
Yeah, I loved it, AC. I feel like you're so good at taking a bunch of information and you just do it naturally, and it's really cool. You take a bunch of information and make it so digestible. So.
It's like my favorite way to hang out with this dude, where I just sit there and I'm just like, yeah, no, really? That's fascinating. And that's what I feel like the stream is getting to hang out with you for an hour and some change.
Yeah.
And really kind of like just be with you. And that's, I think, a special thing that people shouldn't sleep on. That's for sure. And go watch the first 2 episodes. They'll be up on the YouTube and all that. I think that it's a perfect time to remind people that there are some commands that you can type in the chat. Exclamation bot gets you tickets for Bring On Tomorrow, which is happening tomorrow at Eris. Exclamation point COH gets you tickets for Champions of Hope, happening October 28th. And then if you do exclamation point Healthy Poor, it'll give you the links for learning more about Healthy Poor. You can do that at any time during the broadcast. Pretty cool. Today we got a new Nature is Amazing and So Are You, where we're going to feature the wild wonder that is the Monterey Bay Aquarium. This is a very accessible field trip. Are you excited to go to the field trip, AC? You want to go to the aquarium with us?
I mean, you said Monterey Bay. I got really excited, like I want to go, but that's on the West Coast, right? Was that?
Yeah, but we're gonna transport ourselves to the West Coast. We're gonna be there together for a very accessible field trip. But first, we're gonna do a Searching for Goodness, which is gonna feature just part of our experience at the Renaissance Fair. Do you remember our Renaissance Fair experience last year, AC? For Searching for Goodness? It might have been the first Searching for Goodness.
It could have been.
Yeah, I mean, one of these years we're going to get you to come with us, man. I think you'd really like it. Pagan Vegan.
I've been to those as a kid, and they were fun. Those things are crazy.
They're pretty
It's
wild.
pretty wild.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild shit.
They're fun. And I can say, even though I've been vegetarian for like 17, 18 years before I made that transition when I was a kid, you better believe I had rocked like 1 or 2 of those turkey joints.
Yeah, dude.
Big turkey legs. I definitely got down on those way back in
One
the
in
day.
each hand.
Those things are dangerous.
That's awesome. And you know, why don't you, Scott? Why don't you hit us with that Searching for Goodness? Because it's time for Searching for Goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
So cute.
So Bristol Renaissance Fair, if you don't know what it is, it's in Wisconsin. It happens every year for a good chunk of the summer. And Labor Day is like the last weekend that they do stuff. So towards the end of the season, they start doing kind of special weekends, themed weekends, probably to try to get people to come back for a second, third time.
Yeah.
And it's
like
fun.
They have like steampunk. They have They have one that's like, I'm surprised they don't have like a Shakespeare weekend, but I think they have one that's like more about like the royal, like the medieval royal family-ish time.
Game of Thrones style.
But yeah, then
But we went for Pirate Weekend.
Pirate Weekend.
You guys like pirates? Hey, do you want to hear a pirate joke before we do this? I can't hear you, AC.
He said, all right.
I'm sorry. I said, give me one.
Give
All
me
right.
one.
So, what kind of sunscreen does a pirate wear?
What? SPFR, SPF.
Good try. Good try. Nay, it be banana boat. It's because of boat. You know?
Nice, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On point.
Yeah.
On point.
And without further ado, this is our new installment of Searching for Goodness. Take it away, Scott.
Hi, babe.
Hello.
You look cool. Oh, yeah. Arr. Pirate Weekend. It's raining like we're on the sea. We're at a Renaissance Fair. Oh, man. Cool. All right. That's funny. Ocarinas. Cool. Dragon, babe. Not everything is every answer. Every question is Hey you. You like this place? Bones? You like Bones?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yo, Jennifer Lawrence makes it look so easy.
Right?
Are you kidding me?
Well, I was like, maybe I was like trying to use my left hand. I was like, maybe I'll be better if I use my left hand. They're really like dinky. They're really dinky.
They weren't
bows,
good bows and arrows. They were all like bent and shit too.
Yeah. But like it gives you like it gives you an idea of how it would be to do
I couldn't
it.
imagine like just
I'm telling you, dude, it's an experience in itself just buying the arrows, because you walk up, you're like, yeah, we'll pay this for this many arrows, and then if you tip them, they go, we have a tip, or a huzzah, and they like ring a bell, and then they give you like extra arrows.
Yeah.
And the crossbow, that was cool. Did you guys shoot one of those at all?
We did not.
We
like, I think every time we go, we like try to just pick one. Otherwise, you're shelling out like a bunch of cash for like games. I guess it depends on what you like. If you like playing games, by all means, go throwing stars, go throw hatchets, go shoot the bow and arrow, the crossbow, do it all. You know what I mean?
I forgot about this. Like, they have like a little fencing area.
Oh yeah, you can fence your friend.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which like
We should go, dude.
for some reason haven't seen
You and
it.
me. You and me fencing.
Yeah, I like haven't seen the fencing area, so like I didn't even know that was there. Otherwise, I would have fenced Mike.
Yeah, dude. So
That's
wild.
dope.
But yeah, that bagpiper is wild, by the way, because people don't bagpipe like in a jazz way like that usually. Like these are like this jazz drummer sort of, right? And then
Yeah, he was reminding me of like Medeski, Martin, and Wood. Like
yeah,
Billy
they're kind
Martin,
of
just, like,
jazzy trio, and then this
slamming it, and
bagpiper,
just cooking,
this
frying eggs.
bagpiper, like putting that in there is like really unique. Like that's not something that you
That upright bass player was no slouch either. That dude was just like killing it. And I think just going back through those video clips that we took throughout the course of that day, there was so much of this stuff. Like, because there was so much cool shit happening. So we'll have like other installments of the Pirate Ren Fair experience.
Y'all,
I tried to kind of like
I put so much eye makeup
put
on.
sections up.
I put so much eye makeup on. Like, I can't even tell you.
You looked awesome. It was a good smoky eye. You looked like you nailed the Pirates of the Caribbean pirate.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I really like pirates. I always have.
Mine was kind of like a low budge pirate. Mine wasn't as
I like that pirates were like rebels. They've
I was
always
scruffy.
been rebels.
I was scruffy enough to be. I'm scruffy enough to be a pirate. I'm
Hit him with
Blackbeard.
them knees.
I'm Blackbeard. See, Blackbeard. You ever
What'd you say?
Hit him with the knee, Mike.
hit him with the
The pirate knee.
the pirate knee?
yeah.
Yeah, I've got martial arts of a pirate. You know, so. But it was really special. The intersection here when we talk about proactive mental health is dress up, have some fun once in a while, be a kid again for a while. Don't just always be stuck in adult mode, and try to free yourself of some of the trappings of quote unquote adulthood. And it's good for your mind. It's good for your soul. It's just like redemptive. It has like a redemption quality where like it kind of cleans you out of some of like your negative, like just cynicism about the world. Like it's real easy to be angry all the time.
I do
right
think
now.
that
I understand that.
something our generation has done really well is like we've been able to like be kids a little bit more. Like we don't have to like dress up and go to work in this very specific wardrobe, right? Like that, like our parents even, like your dad would like get dressed up in his little suit and like get on the train and go to work. And like we don't have to do that so much. And we can be ourselves more, and like being a nerd is more acceptable, and liking things like, you know, yeah, like,
well, for God's sake, step outside of your comfort zone once in a while. Like,
right. But like, I think like it's just something that we've done really well is like been able to like break out of these things that mean you're an adult and have fun and like wear what you want. And yeah. I
think that's like, I just saw you playing with your dog. I mean, like, I think that's even part of it. Like, you got a pet, you're playing with them. It like draws you out of this mindset that you go through sometimes without even thinking about it, where you're like, autopilot setting is kind of like, I got to do this, I got to do that. If you're playing with your dog, or if you're at Ren Fair dressed like a pirate, the similarity being you're not worrying about all of the little stressors and shit that bothers you.
Yeah.
You're just kind of in the moment, enjoying the interaction with the energy, the people, the animal, whatever.
I mean, and there's a reason why Marvel and Game of Thrones and video games and why all of these things are so popular now is because it's a type of escape that we really need.
Hell to the yeah.
Andy, are you trying to wake up your sister?
What's up, buddy? Hey, what do you say we roll on to this very epic field trip? Let's take a road trip cross country. Let's see the world. Let's get to the West Coast, and let's talk about nature. What you got for us, Scott? Can you hit us with that bumper, that little stun? Ooh, I was just getting into it. I felt like the bagpipers are going to come back.
So I grew up going to this aquarium.
Yes, you did.
With my mom. She grew up in the Bay Area, so we would go sometimes to the aquarium. We would drive to see like her sister or whatever, and then we would take a little side trip. So it's always been my favorite. I love it because they're also scientists, so they also have like this whole section that is about conservation and learning about all the ocean stuff. But then I also love it because it's on the bay, so you can see everything. You can see the ocean and the bay right there, and it's so gorgeous.
That's pretty gnar.
It's really really a cool aquarium.
Maximum gnar, dude.
And I've been to a few other aquariums around the country, but it still remains my favorite.
AC, you been to the Shed Aquarium here in Chicago?
I have.
Do you have like a favorite creature that you like having a particular affinity for when you go to the aquarium?
I like penguins.
Nice.
They had probably my favorite part is like when you're in the tank, pretty much.
Yeah.
All the fish. Like I don't know.
Like a wall of fish.
Like if they got dolphins or sharks or whatever they got in there, but just like being like that's a lot of water, and that's like deep. Like I can't imagine like
hell yeah
what that would be like if it were like empty.
Yeah.
But like seeing all that is nuts. I had a chance to go to the aquarium in Vegas inside of one of their hotel casinos. And that aquarium is
bonkers, I'm sure.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Vegas casino, they got like the fish wearing gold chains and stuff.
Yeah. Yo, sorry, I feel bad now. I don't the hotel I stayed in, you could in the pool they had like baby sharks or fish or something swimming like in a glass thing, like in your pool or something. It was weird.
Dang, there was like a tank inside the like pool, so you could like swim by the. Oh wow!
You would be like, and you could like swim through like this thing, and on either side it was just like fish and weirdness swimming around you.
Oh, that's cool.
That's wild.
Yeah, I don't even know I can't even imagine what goes into like building these places.
Yeah.
Inside tanks.
Well, these tanks that we saw in this deep sea exhibit, you're going to freak out. This is like probably the most amazing nature display that I can possibly think of. So, should we do it?
Yeah.
Should we go to Monterey, guys? Let's go to the West Coast.
Whee!
Take us away, Scott.
Nature is amazing and so are you.
I'll do it.
Well, it's a different one.
That's crazy. This thing like on the inside. What's up with that? Yeah, like the inside's moving around.
It's probably their like balance or buoyancy, you know?
That's interesting.
Their
Plankton.
they're so fun to watch.
They are.
I wish I had like a simulation of that. Hey, that one's moving really fast.
Wow. All right.
So this is the one. See, they were showing that. See, that's the mouth on the top. And some of them have 4, some of them have 6. Most of them have 4. It was 3 months old, and they said when they grow, they become as big as a basketball. Are these the ones that make the ocean light up? And then, have you seen that before? Where I could find this abundant.
Purple striped jelly.
Oh my gosh. So beautiful. Look at this green. They look like something out of a cartoon.
Yeah.
They don't look real. They look like they were fantasy rubber.
They're so nice.
Wow.
It's basically a flower.
Yeah, it looks like something you see in a science fiction film.
Look at the color changing on it.
This is so amazing.
Doesn't look real. But they are. Can't believe what I'm seeing. Look at that shit.
It wouldn't focus on
Oh my god. What the heck? What the heck? That is nuts.
this jelly doesn't even have a scientific name yet.
Is that a snail too? Is that a snail?
The quadruped snails, these are worms.
Okay. Wow. Oh, special.
They could do tricks.
That's cute.
Yeah, damn, go.
Hey.
That's awesome.
Man.
So something really cute about the otters that they had out that this little volunteer lady told me. She was really tiny little lady. But yeah, she said that Rosa is that one of those otters that was swimming around. And she has kind of been the surrogate mother for like 11 of the other otters that they'll rescue a baby otter there and they'll rehabilitate it. And then a lot of the time they can re-release them because Rosa is such a good little surrogate mother otter. So she teaches them how to do all their stuff. And then, they can usually let them go again if they're not too sick. So I thought that was like amazing that she had been surrogate mother for 11 babies.
That's pretty amazing.
It's just
Rosa,
really,
Mama Rosa.
Really cool, yeah.
Yeah, very, very cute. Very. I love that they were dancing, and that's the music I imagine them dancing to.
One of them had a shrimp tail, and she was like rubbing it on her face and playing with it.
Yeah,
it was like
that's
a
my
little
impression
toy.
of them.
Yeah.
The penguins for you, buddy. They were for you. Those little gentlemen at the end.
They were nice. I like penguins.
Yeah,
I like penguins a lot. I like the jellyfish. And then when it got to the one scene, I was like, what is that? And then I was like, oh, that's an octopus. Those things are, if I was like stupid rich,
you'd have like
I'm talking like P. Diddy, J. Lo, and Dave Grohl all rolled up in one rich with like a pinch of Kevin Hart rich. I would get an octopus just to like look at it sometimes. Like you guys seen the video where it's like there's one that's trapped in a thing and it like unscrews the thing from the inside and lifts itself out.
Yeah.
Those
but
things
like I said in the chat, like we don't even know how like cephalopods or jellies like work because they like don't have brains.
They don't have the same kind of
They don't have like the same brain that everything else does. So we like don't even know.
They have nervous systems, but like they don't have like this all the gray matter that we have.
Yeah, and
like the ones that you saw that are like clear, and you're like, how's it making the lights up and down its spines?
And then our friend Caleb last night is like obsessed with octopus, and I was wearing an octopus shirt, and he told me this fact about the fact that octopus like don't have DNA that matches anything.
What?
Like, so we don't even know.
Cray.
Yeah. We like don't even they maybe he thinks they're aliens from outer space that were like, oh, you live on a water planet. We need a water planet. We'll come down there.
I think what's the intersection here with proactive mental health is that you can spend hours being stuck in a really bad kind of like cycle of thought, and you can have these tools at your disposal to try and pull you out of those things and really approach your health as far as your mental health goes practically, and like have some things that work for you that are personalized for your toolbox. Like, so have a little screen recording of one of those jellies that you really liked, like saved in your favorites. Go watch the video of the jellies when you're feeling kind of unregulated or dysregulated, where maybe like that can help you.
Yeah.
Just chill out
for
a second.
There's a scientific fact about looking at baby animals or cute animals. It releases like oxytocin and
for sure
some chemicals in your brain that can help too. So,
and if the jellies creep you out and you're more into cuddly kittens and stuff, that's cool too. But
yeah,
just like always be open to expanding your horizons and learning about new animals and stuff. Because I learned about animals that I never imagined before, and it was just like sci-fi city in that deep sea tank with all those jellyfish and the cuttlefish were just wild to me. They got like the Cthulhu kind of like tentacles, and they're like changing color through their bodies, just like this wave of color.
Yeah.
Just mind-boggling, and it makes you feel that anything is possible when you approach nature and like appreciate just how incredible it is. Sometimes we'll be cuddling our dog and just like looking at just the detail, the fine detail of just the face area, the little nostrils, or you know, like the little brindle pattern on her fur. And when you take those moments to really zone in, almost like you're a microscope yourself, it's special. It's a special moment. Now take it a step further and remind yourself, oh, I'm doing something good for my mental health. Be conscious of the fact that you are in some ways in control of how you respond to these kind of triggers in our lives, and like how we can kind of biohack our way back from that edge of feeling very anxious and get back into our comfort space where we can like feel confident in ourselves and feel strong and feel like we can do it and we can face adversity in the process. So I will remind you, we always put these streams up on YouTube. If you want to share with your friends that are not on Twitch, and by all means, if you just kind of want to clip it out or whatever and see how that can help you on your daily. So
yeah,
thanks for going on that accessible field trip with us. It's cool to take you to the Monterey Bay Aquarium because maybe some of you won't have the means to get there at some point, or regionally speaking, or whatever your circumstances might be. So I hope you enjoyed that visit. Nature's amazing, that's for sure. So yeah. You guys want to bring our guest on?
Yeah.
So we talked about Laura Louise Green and Healthy Pour for a little bit at the beginning. We talked about some of the background there, and about the liquor.com 2022 Liquor Awards nomination, lifting up the work that Healthy Pour is doing, and a bunch of other great organizations out there doing this work in hospitality spaces and other creative industries. I admire Laura a great deal for not only the approach that she takes, but the way that she constantly will ask for feedback and want the community to have input in the things that she's doing. An often overlooked step in this whole process.
Yeah.
So let's bring Laura on. Maybe we'll even have Barley on. I don't know. We'll see. Hey, what's up? What's up?
There he is.
Yeah, what's up, Barley?
My little shadow.
This is
Great to see you all.
This is the best.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you too. AC, Laura, Erin,
Hello.
did you ever meet Laura in purpose?
I think so.
In
But
purpose.
You
person.
You look familiar to me. I believe we've probably met.
Yeah, you Erin has worked at Sip of Hope since the beginning, and so you probably met Erin over at Sip of Hope as a barista. And AC is my best bud, and he used to be my roommate when he moved here from the Michigan area. And
he's worked in the service industry.
Yeah, he was he was up in that hospitality life for quite a long time.
I did do that. I did do that for a long time.
AC, why did you leave the hospitality industry? If you don't mind.
Honestly, I had been doing it since I was 16. It was pretty much, I mean, other than playing music and playing shows, that's really all that I knew. It was just the easiest job for, I guess, a young musician to have, especially like when you're traveling. And I think that what made me want to leave was just, one, age, two, just everything that can go with that job or with that profession over the years, you know, stress from owners, chefs, customers, food reps, you know, other coworkers, you know, it could be all sorts of things, but I think all those things together just made me be like, this was fun and I love it and respect it, but if I don't move on, this could be bad for me. So
Yeah.
I had to leave. And I still have quite a few friends that are in that industry, and some are doing very well and some are just not. It's rough, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I still, you know, I still loved every minute of it. We'll put it that way. Like, even though there were times that were rough, I, you know, still had some good times.
Yeah.
You're still rocking that hospitality life and coffee. And I worked in my undergrad in a brewery restaurant too. So personally, all three of us just want to thank you for what you're doing in hospitality.
Well, it's my favorite thing to do. It's my favorite thing to talk about. So, I mean, the pleasure is mine, honestly. Like, as people engage with the work and as people start to look at the conversations around mental health and well-being within the hospitality industry more as a holistic and systemic issue, as opposed to a crisis intervention and crisis management, which is what we usually see, right? We usually see it as like, oh, so Anthony Bourdain, you know, Anthony Bourdain died. What are we going to do? Or in those early days, people would call me all the time for resources when someone was in deep crisis. And it was frankly frustrating because I was like, God, there's so much more that we could do leading up to this point. You know, we could have intervened all the way over here so that we aren't finding ourselves in these crisis moments all the time. And I want with that space and that distance, that's a hell of a lot of suffering that's avoidable.
Yeah.
You know, so it really is as I see the success of Healthy Pour sort of increasing, it's sort of easy to be like, oh my God, we're doing it, you know, and be excited about the success. But deep in my heart, it's also like, finally, you know, like, finally, thank you for listening, thank you for engaging, because it's there's not what's the point if it only comes with notoriety without the action, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Look at that kitty cat.
That's Gandalf. He's a quarantine cat, and
fools.
we got him during quarantine, and he was like this big, and now you can stretch him out like this long, and he doesn't know what it's like to us go to work every day and stuff like that. He's still very much like, the hell, why are you guys gone all day? Yeah. That's totally stupid. But no, he's a good kitty. We like our fur friends. Minnie's back here in this blanket.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, she's a little cinnamon roll. So,
but yeah, I love what you just said.
I know that you find comfort, and I'm sure AC does, to think about his friends that are still in the industry, that somebody is actually giving a shit enough to like compassionately and passionately pound on some doors and be like, what the hell are we doing? Like, why don't we try a different approach? Because the burnout of customer interaction, and you're in a lucky situation where you have a boss that supports you and cares about just your overall well-being.
Yeah.
But I know that the Healthy Pour stuff came about gradually. You were digging in, doing work, doing community surveys, asking for input, taking that data and analyzing it. And I think watching that trajectory and growth was like watching a beautiful flower bloom. No, for real. I know that sounds corny as shit, but
I love it.
You want to take us through that discovery process for you?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I think Mike, I started in music, and I had been working in hospitality. AC, to your point, I was doing music and theater, and then I joined a rock band, and we were touring all the time, and it was like a whole thing. And intermittently, I was working in bars and restaurants. Like I was a busser at American Girl Place, and then I was like at Elephant and Castle and PJ Clark and these chains and stuff. And then we finished this last tour, and I left the band that I was in, and I was like, I need a job. And yeah, I joined this place called Karen's on Green, which was a disaster, a total disaster. But it was my first craft cocktail spot. But what I got from that, it mirrored the chaos of arts life, like touring life and music theater life, you know, because for what it's worth, I've also expanded my research from just hospitality into these other like freelance creative industries, what in organizational psychology we call precarious careers.
Precarious careers.
Yeah, precarious careers. And it's not precarious because the career is inherently precarious. It's because the systems around them and the support systems are few. That's why we call them precarious. When I first heard precarious, I was like, the fuck? These are real jobs. But so I was doing that. I found community within the hospitality industry. I loved the artistry of craft cocktails. And this was over a decade ago now. But I also was staying out every night. I was spending all my money. I was drinking too much. I was going through a divorce, so that definitely didn't help. But it also very much solidified alcohol and finding community in bars as a evidence-based coping mechanism, right? Like it was working for me. It felt good. I was able to escape the stuff. So I engaged further. And I really hit the point that I realized that if I didn't start to think a little bit differently about things, I wasn't going to hit 40. And a lot of, you know, there are people from that era of my friends group who won't, you know. So it's terrible to think that my instincts were right. But with that, I decided that therapy had been so helpful for me, like through my divorce, that I wanted to explore therapy from the other side of it as a therapist. I was especially interested in career development and why people go into the careers that they do, which is really cool because that is so central to the work that I do now. Like, why do people choose to go into such a chaotic and precarious space? Why do people say that they thrive within the chaos of that stress, of that abusive stress? What is that about? You know, why do we want and tolerate environments that undermine us, that belittle us, that harm us? What are those connections there? How do we make those decisions? How are we coping so that people are like, oh yes, this dangerous, horrible, emotionally abusive space is the right space for me? What is that about? You know? So I went to school, became a psychotherapist, graduated, but by the time I graduated, and this was 2016, 2017, I also saw my career in beverage sort of start to go, you know, I was taking really great jobs. I was becoming more and more entrenched with my community, and it made it really hard to leave that work. And then someone reached out and they were like, so-and-so is writing an article about substance use issues in hospitality. Do you want to give a quote? And I was like, I do. And she sent me 4 questions. And I keep saying I'm going to find the email to find the questions, because I remember thinking they were all the right questions, but the answer was far too involved for me to responsibly put it into a soundbite, which is still, like, you know, with Instagram and stuff, the forever challenge. From there, the woman writing the article said, well, this is my editor, you should write a full article. And I was like, okay. So I wrote a 3,500 word article about how substance use isn't an individual's issue, it's a community issue. And that went like, and
okay.
That was that. So I decided to focus specifically on the hospitality industry, on creative industries, exploring those pieces. And but frankly, the industry wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
You know, people looked at me like I had 6 heads when I talked about these things. Like, what are you talking about? Then when Anthony Bourdain died, that gave the mission a little bit of a push, which sucks that it takes that, you know, for people to pay attention to it. And then of course the pandemic from there. But Mike, to your point about how it's changed, like it started just as like, I would just give talks in bars ever so often, or I would submit stuff to like Tales of the Cocktail and things like that. And in those early days, I never even got a phone call. like, you know, and now I'm on the education committee, but it's changed so much over the years because I kept finding that interventions that I thought were going to work didn't land, or they weren't ready. People weren't ready for them. So I had to take feedback from the community about what do you need. And sometimes people would say, we need this and this, and I would create it and it would still fall flat. And I would be like kicking rocks down the street, all upset, you know, but it takes a lot of agility and push and pull to figure out, you know, what works from a well-being consultant standpoint. What works in some other industries like office spaces and more like, you know, traditional workspaces, if you will, doesn't necessarily land in the hospitality and creative industries. So it takes a lot of creativity on my side and a lot of, frankly, resilience to just keep trying to figure these things out. And so I use not just community feedback, but like actually like evidence-based research, either research that I'm doing or that I found in the literature. I look a lot at sports teams is a great resource for me, seeing what's happening within those kinds of organizations, since the pace of it is very similar. But we're seeing more research in hospitality, but it's still not a ton, you know, like you listen to Brene Brown's Dare to Lead podcast and, you know, they're talking about offices. They're not talking about hospitality.
Sure.
Those are different conversations.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but they are. So a little bit of how I got here. It's been a little like this, but it feels good. You know, I feel like I'm in a good place.
When did Healthy Poor like kind of gel into that name, and like when did you come to the point where I'm launching this Healthy Poor, this is what it is, and like, because now it's just laser focused, I feel like, and really well presented on your Instagram. People go to her Instagram, like seriously, there's you'd be busy for hours learning.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
But like, you know, you got it pinned right at the top. This is what I am, this is what I'm about, this is what I do. When did you say Healthy Poor is the name? I'm doing this.
Well, I figured out the name in 2018. And there was someone else, they were a Healthy Poor, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm just healthy poor then. But I was trying to figure out a name for something because I didn't want to be like LauraLouiseGreen.com. Like I wanted this to be bigger than just me. Like, you know, I wanted whatever this was going to be to transform into something else. You know, and I needed a website to have resources and, you know, where people could sign up to, you know, engage in surveys for research and stuff like that.
Right.
And then I was like, I guess I was thinking about making classes online, and I was like, maybe I could do it like how like a Moodle or something. And this was in the beginning of the pandemic, and now that's transformed into the Healthy Poor Institute.
Yes.
But when Healthy Poor, frankly, I was trying to figure out how to monetize it, and I didn't want it to be a nonprofit because I wanted Healthy Poor to be a business with investors, and you know, that we could then give a bunch of money to nonprofit organizations and collaborate with them. Like it was very intentional. Technically, we're a low profit limited liability corporation. So mission over profits is really how that goes. We collect profits when there are. Let's be real here. You know, but it's mission over profits.
Love it.
Really like a decision-making model, business model, if you will. But I was sitting in an office like for a non-alcoholic spirits, and I was just sitting in their space, and I'm like working on something, and there was this like long meeting table, and then I looked back and there was a kitchen and like different cubicles and offices, and I was looking around and I was like, I wonder what Healthy Poor would have to be. Hi, Barley. Welcome.
Buddy.
Just, you know, being a cat. But I was thinking, like, what would this have to be? Because I had so many ideas for Healthy Poor. I wanted it to be education. I wanted it to be community. I wanted it to be research and this. And it just clicked. I was like, oh my God, it's a consultancy.
Yeah.
I eventually want to grow to a space where we have an entire coaching segment where we have trained coaches who are helping business owners how to create better workspaces for the people who are working for their businesses. And I want a whole education section. I want it to be like healthy poor education. And then I want a research section, and I want this, and I want this. And I just had this moment that it like laid out in front of me, and I was like, I could monetize that and then put it back into community. And it's been a struggle for a little while to communicate what it is that I do. Like, I'm a consultant, and they're like, wait, so you're a therapist? I'm like, yes. And they're like, wait, you're not a therapist here. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I see clients as a therapist, certainly, but I don't do any my boundaries around that are pretty.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
You're like, I have multitudes. I am a
therapist
and a consultant. So
yeah, but it's like also like really figuring out how to communicate what we do. And I feel like I finally gotten there. It's a matter of, again, getting into people's heads a little bit. And when I say that, I don't mean like in like a manipulative way, but like
a shrink way.
Under what circumstances would someone be searching for mental health in the hospital? Like when they're doing a Google search, under what circumstances would that be? And it's usually going to be in a place of crisis or fear.
Right. I
had to change my website around so that it could give people the answers that they were looking for without overwhelming them further. So it's every step of Healthy Poor is meeting people where they are, from when they first Google us to when we're working directly within the organization.
The earthy tones are even soothing, and the way you lay out. No, so you break down the information into these like laid out like digestible things that like I can just look at one of the social media cards and just kind of ponder, and then like, okay, now I'm going to move on. I've sat with that for a second. Now I'm going to move on to this next stepping stone. Like you lay it out really nicely, I think, for people that maybe don't even know what it's like to work in one of these precarious industries, like can glean all sorts of wisdom and understanding about themselves or people that they care about. So if you know somebody with a restaurant, if you know somebody with a business that needs a little upgrade as far as how they help people and how they cultivate just the humanity of their employees and nourish them in these what can be transformative ways, please don't hesitate, because they are up for an award. Healthy Poor.
Oh, we won that award.
You won that award. And then other people.
That was the first award I've ever won.
That's amazing. Awesome. Award-winning Healthy Poor. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because liquor.com, I saw your reel about it. And so you won an award. I wasn't sure if it was like you were nominated with this batch of awesome people, but you were all award winners, basically.
Yes. Yeah. And what was so cool about these awards is this
grouping of awards,
award program, whatever, is that they got their judging system is like super diverse. And I mean diverse, not just from like a demographic standpoint, which I think we make a mistake of only seeking, like when we talk about DE&I, we talk about diversity in terms of like what our identities and demographics are, but there's so many more layers of diversity, like specifically thinking about like leadership style, approach, socioeconomic, education style, learning preferences, all of these different things also need to go into that. BT dubs, anyone watching? BT dubs. And if you have all of those other things, everything else will fall into place in the way that you want it to. Anyway, so super, super diverse from all over the place, people in different jobs, different perspectives, different backgrounds, all of that. And there's no brand sponsorship involved in it either. So it's not like there's money influencing, which is something that's like very important to me. But also what I really like about it is that they shout out all the nominees. I've been nominated for other awards, but I've never been recognized because I've never won them. So it's like I get these nominations, but I don't win. And so I have this like trail of nominations that I can't even like brag about, but you know what I mean? And
not anymore, Laura. Not
But
anymore.
it's cool because they listed all the people who were also nominated and found and offered avenues to look at their work. And those people who were also nominated are like close partners of mine, because if Healthy Poor didn't have all of those other organizations to work with, I wouldn't be able to function. In terms of talking about like mental health stuff, right? I cover a very specific piece of the pie. You know, I don't do peer mentorship. I don't do very baseline community education. It's very targeted community education. I don't do crisis. You know, there's a lot of different areas that these other organizations. I don't do events. Like, I'm not putting on an event. Like, I don't make cocktails anymore. Like, I don't do any of those things. So all of those other organizations need to exist in order for Healthy Poor to exist. And Healthy Poor needs to exist so all the other organizations can exist as well. We all cover a different intervention point for the same problem. So it was so cool to see all of these other groups recognized, because they're a part of it too. They have to be. So that was really neat.
Hell yeah. I got a question for AC and Erin. Erin, as a current hospitality worker, AC, former, if you had a resource like Healthy Poor or someone like Laura, who is a pracademic, to ask questions of support, of your situation, of your livelihood, for both of you, like what kind of questions would you ask? Or, you know, what kind of things are you needing, or like kind of that angle on it?
I think my biggest sort of thing is about how to, like, we get a lot of people, the libraries across the street. I think the neighborhood that we're a part of has to do with it, but or the community that is also around. But I think the biggest thing is that we have like homeless people who come in. We have people who, you know, just need a place to sit and relax for a little while. And sometimes we're in a situation where it's not really safe to like talk to them. So I kind of need, my biggest thing is needing like support around being able to help those people without calling the cops usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to crisis, I guess everybody's like got their hands in the air, like, I guess.
But like what my coworkers and I usually need is like some sort of procedure to be able to, like, we need a procedure of what, because like there'll be times where something will happen and someone will be good at that situation, and other coworkers will just be like, I have no idea what to do, and they'll just freeze, which is totally understandable. So it's kind of like we need like a script or a procedure of like what everybody should do in the whole shop, sort of. So and that's just been a continuous, that's been something that like we've always needed.
Yeah, and my recommendation with that's not, for what it's worth, that is not an uncommon need right now. And not necessarily with people who are unhoused or in a situation that they come needing help that you don't know how to necessarily, you don't have the tools or resources to deal with in that moment.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of restaurants who they don't know what the boundary is with guests. Like how far does hospitality extend?
Exactly.
What is the boundary of like, okay, now I have to ask you to leave, but they don't know the steps leading up to those things and those intervention points leading up to those things. So that's a common problem. And I can't really give a cookie cutter statement for each one, but for each like organization or space. But a great way to build those steps is to get everyone in a room have a meeting and workshop it. With that, you're creating systems of feedback, input.
Hell yeah.
Everybody's giving voice. Also, like so many times we have these hierarchies within hospitality and a lot of workspaces too. Like it's this pyramid situation that one person's at the top and everyone else sort of falls in line somewhere beneath. You know, we see the hierarchy, the org charts, right?
Yeah.
But that one person, how unreasonable to think that they have all the answers. Like how totally unreasonable, you know? And it's the answers are probably a puzzle within everybody else. Everyone has a piece of it of what to do. So when you have these systems of feedback in place and people are able to have voice, they're able to provide feedback, share their personal and professional wisdom, regardless of what their role is within the organization, that's when you start to create a procedure that feels fair, that feels just, that is encompassing of what everyone agrees on. And then when the time comes that those actions have to be put in place, people feel okay doing them because they were a part of it and they were a part of developing that. So that would be my recommendation. Anytime any sort of procedure comes into place, there's it's best to have the entire crew have some input at some point. When people have input into what those procedures look like, it increases procedural fairness. When people don't feel like they're being treated well or it's not fair, it's a disaster. Like it is such a disaster. And if people have input, even if they don't like every step of it, if they had input at some point, they are more likely to be happier with how it went.
Yeah.
Instead of like, wow, you're telling us to do this. This really fucking sucks. I hate this place. You know?
No, that's perfect. She's good. She's good, right? Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? She's good. She knows what she's doing. I bet she's done some procedure building for organizations out there, and they're better for it. So, smashed it. AC, you got something?
No, it's like like I'll be like, oh yeah, I should ask that, and it's like seconds into having that thought, I feel like whatever I was going to ask, you just start talking about and covering kind of in a way, and I'm just like,
yeah.
You're talking about telepathy, right?
like all right, like okay, well,
yeah, no, you're kind of right on the money there because that last response kind of really encapsulates an approach that isn't like a cookie cutter, and it honors the nuances required for each circumstance, but it addresses the most important like foundational element, and that's like giving people a voice.
Exactly.
And otherwise they're not going to buy into shit. Like,
yeah,
you want me to do this?
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
No.
And it's like, yeah, it's about autonomy and like everybody feeling listened to and that they're valued. It's like,
and that they're valued. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's, you look at, you know, kind of circling back to when I first started chatting with you all here, when we see mental health interventions, we too often see these crisis points. When we, in the workplace, we need to talk about belonging. We need to talk like all these other things that we put into other topical boxes to talk about the workplace. Those are well-being initiatives. Those are well-being changes. You know, like we can focus on well-being and mental health for sure, but we can't intervene on the mental health stuff unless all these other social issues are in place. Like part of my my main research focus is two decision-making processes around career, specifically trauma. So like developmental trauma, complex post-traumatic stress, and how that influences career decisions and stuff, but also socio-emotional stress, how our social circles and the emotions that are attached to that can stress us out. That leads to things like burnout, imposter syndrome, all of those pieces. So that's where my expertise really comes in. But that's why I'm so into things like feedback, meaning making, looking at entire structures. AC, to your point earlier about like food vendors, guests, boss, all of those things play into what mess we're in, you know, which means each one of them has a responsibility to make changes to support the people who are on those front lines and who are bearing the brunt of the emotional damage.
Yeah.
Oof.
So I
Man.
guess my other sort of question is like, how do you get a place, like say you're a employee of a place and you see some of these issues, how do you get your boss or your higher ups to really like want to make those changes as well?
Yeah.
That's like the trickiest part, I guess. But
So let me throw this back to you then, because I've been thinking about something. A colleague of mine who does a lot of culture building, very, very similar work, but she works in a broader organizational set, and super great. Her name is Angela Rose Howard. She's dope. But she wrote out a template for people who want their bosses, if you will, to hire Angela to come in and address culture. So I'm thinking of writing a template for hospitality folks to take and sign and give it to their boss. Now, that's a tool, right, to communicate this is something that we want and this is something that we need. I've tried a lot of different approaches in terms of, like, for example, in hospitality, and this is a low number. It's actually higher than this because this was a number that was found in 2004 at the Cornell Hospitality School of Management, that it costs $6,000 every time someone quits and you need to rehire someone. So if you have like 100+% turnover, like we do in the hospitality industry right now, and you have 30 employees, quick math, that's, what is that? 10 times 6,000 would be 60,000, $180,000 you're spending annually.
$180,000.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So that is a huge loss. And if 77% of turnover is preventable, and we know that people are leaving their jobs primarily nowadays, and this is all sectors, all industries, because they're looking for career advancement, learning, and a place where they can grow, then if we implement career development within our organizations, you're going to be retaining people. So let's say you spent like $10,000, $15,000 for me to come in for 2 months and blah, 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 do whatever. That is peanuts. How much is that? That's retaining 3 people, and then there's all the rest of that is money that's saved that can go towards more career development, better benefits, more pay, maybe expansion, who knows? But the amount of money that we lose on just turnover is pretty absurd. Managers, it can cost up to 200% of their annual salary to replace them. That's like, and sometimes people quit because they don't get a raise. Like they're like a $5,000 raise, and they're like, no. It's like, but we use these rather archaic business models to show like how much money is being made or whatever, and it's not the reality. It's so many like short-term thinking, fire drill thinking, that we're not looking at all the money that's being left on the table. And it's not just like staff meals, payment for overtime and stuff like that. It's group cohesion, it's morale, it's motivation. All of these things are like baked into the cost of turnover. It's not just the training and it's not just the overtime. It's very short-sighted if people are looking at it like that. It's also like community reputation. I don't want to work there. I heard, no, I could go off.
I think the template idea is great. Yeah, why not try that? Yeah.
It seems like what a lot of times a company needs is somebody to address profit and loss, the P&Ls, but with like a more compassionate, holistic lens.
Yes.
And then you can kind of, like a doctor would, give a prognosis, because there's these symptoms all over the place that your restaurant or your business is unhealthy for your employees.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's so cool what you're doing, and I can't I can't say enough about how proud that I am. That
come a long way, Mike.
So awesome.
Hell yeah. And I just want to thank you again for taking some time out of the the Sunday. I know you got lots of seminars and stuff happening.
I'm recording all these lectures for the Institute, the Healthy Port Institute. So today we're recording psychological safety, employee relations, stuff about that. Like, so things around the psychological contract and what motivation is, like really what motivation is. Fun thing about motivation, you can't really motivate someone, but you can demotivate them. So,
sure, yeah.
So you can't, motivation is more intrinsic. So like externally, I can't motivate someone, but I can definitely demotivate them. So in terms of like leadership intervention, what we need from people is to maintain motivation and move away from steps that are demotivating them, like unattainable goals, language, all that stuff. So that's what I'm doing today.
That's so cool. Yeah. Well, I had the pleasure of diving into your work years ago. Mm-hmm. And my favorite part about it is that sometimes people will go, well, this is just too dense of a topic. I'm going to simplify it just a little bit. And they like chop off this whole other like end of the nuance. You're like, I'm just going to take my time with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to break it down to what motivation is as a concept in the theory, like in the psychological framework. I'm going to start there, and then I'm going to apply it to these things.
Yes.
And if it's going to take a while, I'm going to do a whole seminar on this one component of this thing. And I think that's something that needs to be appreciated and, needs to be said.
You got to get into that psychology and philosophy of it all.
Because it feels irresponsible, right? If you make it just into a mic drop or like a sort of like, damn kind of sentence that you read, and you're like, you're missing all these other pieces. Also, what tends to happen is people externalize those problems. And what I want them to do is internalize them. I want them to see that they're the problem too. Like when you read something, like the hospitality industry isn't in the space that it is just because of a few bad actors. It's because everyone tolerates those bad actors and people emulate them, whether we want to or not. Every single one of us, myself included, is like totally complicit in how it's going. And I want people to read stuff and be like, oh, I do that, don't I? I do project on people, don't I? That's the thing.
Yeah.
In a compassionate way.
And you call that out like on some of your educational posts where you're like, appreciate this, but this is not therapy. And even therapy is not all of the work you need to do.
Oh man, I come for people when they're like, how do we get people more therapy? I'm like, what, for 3 free sessions? You're going to give them like 3 free sessions and then say, oh, now it's like $50 a copay because we're giving you shit health insurance. But please go to therapy as if it's going to solve all the problems. Come on. Sorry. Like,
no, for real.
You have
little close to home. No,
like if you have 1 hour of therapy a week and then the rest of your life is in this like chaos, dysfunction, like it's like I posted a story of a little mouse trying to run up a wood plank and he's like, and that's what it's like. And it's almost cruel, right? Yeah. So telling people to go to therapy in order to like absolve an organization to absolve themselves of mistreating them it's really shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you always push for that. Like your imperative in your education, where at the end of each digestible piece, you say, now go do some work with what you just learned. Don't stop right here. Like, and that's cool as hell. And I think,
because what do you do when, I hate it when people just have they just say the problem and they have no progression. But what can I do?
Don't leave me hanging here.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, I think that we'd love to have you back anytime. We've got, every other Sunday we do these streams, and AC's got his own show as well on Friday nights. And we just try to make this conversation something that can explore every intersection as well. And we can take our time with it and not just only talk about crisis, for instance, or only talk about diagnoses or, that kind of thing. So we're really grateful that you came and talked about what you're doing with Healthy Poor.
Thank you for having me. Truly, this is awesome.
Yeah, our pleasure.
Cool. I was so thrilled to get that email. I was like, yeah.
That makes me so happy. That makes me so happy. We want to shout out our man Scott for running the show here on StreamYard and making us look so pretty. We want to thank Carl Evans and the Hope for Us Network and all the other people working hard. I want to give Gabby B a shout out, doing a special mural for tomorrow's live event, the panel at Eris Bring On tomorrow with 3 amazing people, heroes of mine in Chicago, Janine Wise, Michelle Tompkins, and Michelle Foyk of Eris. So if you're in Chicago, Old Irving Park, it's a big ass, beautiful old Masonic temple. And Eris is the god of chaos. And these 2 amazing women started the only woman-owned brewery in Chicago. And, the first at least.
Yeah.
And award-winning food, award-winning cider, award-winning building, architecture, and there's options for everybody on the menu. So if you're gluten-free, if you're vegetarian, you're vegan, whatever, if you don't drink, there's tons of NA options. Michelle's all about that. So just another example of people trying to transform hospitality spaces through their actions, not just some bullshit that they're talking. So Michelle Foyk, our first guest last week, just sending some love that way as well. Thanks for all your support with Eris. Because I don't know if you know this, Laura, Michelle's a super duper huge wrestling fan. So her and Carl met and brainstormed on the Champions of Hope wrestling show that's happening at the end of October.
How awesome is that?
Pretty badass. So maybe you could come with us to the wrestling show. That'd be cool.
I'm down. I'm into it.
All right. That Logan Auditorium, and it's going to be a blast. So I just want to thank everybody that tuned in. And if you tune in the future, please don't hesitate to drop us a line. We're all on Instagram, and we'd love to hear from you. And until 2 weeks from now, keep cherishing those things that get you through to tomorrow and taking care of each other.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank
Happy
you.
fall. Happy fall, everybody. Check out Healthy Poor. See you later.
Bye.